Welcome to 4IR. The Center for Scientific and Industrial Research, also known as the CSIR, has developed a learning factory at their main campus in Pretoria. This state-of-the-art learning and training facility is a partnership between the CSIR and the Sector Education and Training Authority for Manufacturing, Engineering and Related Services. Let's find out about this amazing center and all the opportunities on offer.
My name is Saddam Matanzima. I am the manager for technical learning and development at CSIR. So the CSIR Learning Factory, it's a replica of your digital work environment where theoretical learning and practical learning takes place. So this platform is meant to cater for all the kind of learning to enhance digital transformation. Looking at the CSIR as a multi-research organization focusing more on innovation, as you know, like for us to have that very strong capacity in driving our innovation, we need relevant skills. So what we've realized is that focusing on the traditional skills interventions, like your bursaries, your internships, and the work integrated learning, and so on, we've realized that it's not going to help us in moving with speed when it comes to digital transformation. We really need an environment where practical learning on these digital technologies can take place. And then what we've done, we've then approached one of the 21 SITAs called MERSITA, that's a manufacturing, engineering and related services SITA, to say we would like to partner with them so that we can establish this platform so that it can assist in driving the skills development, but not only focusing on skills development, but also tackling the research, development and innovation programs. One of the key focus areas for the Learning Factory is to look at the TVET colleges. As you know, some of our TVET colleges are based at previously disadvantaged areas where the digitization is a challenge. They don't even understand, the term digitization, So what we've then agreed with the MERSITA was that we need to look at establishing these learning factories at the TVET colleges and taking advantage of the geographic distribution of the TVET colleges, because some of them are based in rural areas and some of them are in the townships. So now the target, in terms of establishing these these learning factories at TVET colleges is to have at least 2 learning factories in each province. So we have a total of about 18 learning factories to establish at TVET colleges, and of course we believe that this is a starting point, considering the fact that the country is big and is looking forward to this digitization. And we're also engaging with the DHET, the Department of Higher Education and Training, whereby we're looking at developing short courses that can assist in terms of fast-tracking, these digital skills with the youth. And we are working with QCITO, that is the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations, to ensure that the kind of courses that we develop, they get accredited. Because as you know, there's a number of training service providers who are claiming to be running very relevant courses. However, you find that those courses are not accredited. They have not been validated. So we want to make sure that we follow the right process and ensure that we get our courses accredited so that we can support our industries through the development of youth, so that the youth can be absorbed in the whole ecosystem. And one other aspect that we are also looking into is not to just focus on the technical side of things in terms of our skills development, but also to look at the soft skills, like creative thinking, the analytical thinking, and all those soft skills, that we tend to overlook because they enhance, this whole digitization. So we want to make sure that, the youth is well equipped with both technical skills and also soft skills. And the other aspect that we want to ensure that we fast track is the entrepreneurship and techno-entrepreneurship, so that the kind of ideas that the youth come up with in this technological space, it can be moved up to the businesses, so that the ideas can be fast-tracked into successful businesses. And of course you need that techno-entrepreneurship skills, so that the idea can go through those phases and get tested, and then be able to then reach a point where it can become a successful business.
Hi, my name is Belinda Matebese, and I'm a researcher at the CSIR under the Center for Robotics and Future Production, which also forms part of the manufacturing cluster. Well, I was a quiet kid, an introvert, if I can say that, interested in science and mathematics. And I think through my primary and high school, I was attending science functions or science activities, so that's where I fell in love with science. Well, I think at the time it's just that curiosity of how the world is and how things can be done. So just wanted to also get like a background on what maths can do in the world, or what changes you can do as a scientist. CSIR Learning Factory is a project that I'm currently working on. It was established in 2021 as a collaborative project between the CSIR and MERSITA. So the idea was that it looks into skills development and also trying to prepare the future and the current workforce, including youth and unemployed people, for the fourth industrial revolution space. So with the CSIR Learning Factory, what it tries to do when it comes to youth and empowering them through skills development is just giving them an opportunity or tools so that they can be able to be ready for a workforce in terms of 4IR technologies. So if I can make an example is, for instance, as a young kid or kids these days, they are able to navigate and use cell phones as early as, say, 6 years old. So with our youth in particular as well, being tech savvy, so it will be easy for us as the Learning Factory to expose them to technologies like augmented reality or virtual reality, and show them how they can enhance or they can incorporate such technologies in their daily lives.
Welcome back to 4IR. Developing 4IR technologies has many real-world applications. Dr. Belinda Matebese will now give us some examples of these uses.
For instance, creating an app, maybe just to help your community in terms of, there was one community where in Limpopo, a youth created an app where they would list all the services. If you want to play, or you are planning a funeral, where they can list all the service providers, you can list where you can get certain things as well. So through these technologies, we're trying to show them how easy it can be to help them grow in the economy, and also help them understand, if I can say, how they can integrate some of this in their daily lives. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you some parts of the Learning Factory, or the CSIR Learning Factory. So the way we package the Learning Factory, we also have application cells. Application cells are basically the cells where you get to do a hands-on experience with the certain technology or certain tool. And in this case, I'm just going to show you how easily it can be to program or to teach a robot to do a pick and place. So these robots, we call them collaborative robots because they are safer and they can work hand in hand with humans, so you don't need to cage them or be far from them. You can just give them certain settings so that when you touch them, they can stop. So it depends on what actually they need to bump into. So for instance, if they're working with sensitive things like the knobs, then you can basically program the pressure to be softer. And if it's working with human beings, and Michali always say, even hitting a fly, you can program it so that it stops. So with these ones, it's basically teaching the robot through demonstration. So if you can look at the screen there, we focus on apps. So you don't necessarily need to know the nitty-gritty details of the programming side. So we have apps here, and each app, as long as we can understand the function behind it, we can just do a drag and a drop. So like you can see here, this is the task that it was doing when it was moving around. And then we have this here where you can create your own app. Let's call this SABC for IR show. Okay, and then from there, okay, so it will give you the dashboard, and then from there you can basically just create your own sequence or what you want the robot to do. So it's always safe when you are dealing with robots to put them in a safe position. So with this one, we have like this button, which is you switch it on for when you want to teach it and when you want to run it. We also have emergency buttons just in case anything happens. And then in this case, it's on the running mode. So I'm just gonna switch it on to the teaching mode. So with this one, I can basically then move the robot around. And the other focus that we do is, as much as we want to focus on technologies that are human-centered, we also focus on technologies that don't necessarily need someone with technical skills. Of course, we do cater for people that have technical skills, but the idea is to also, if someone with like a matric or didn't finish school, how can they use such systems? So by moving the robot around, then I can just drag and drop the apps here, and then I can do a simple task like pick and place, and then the robot will be able to do the pick and place.
I'm Darren Venold, and I'm an industrial engineer here at the CSIR within the Center of Robotics and Future Production. So none of my parents were engineers when I was growing up. My mom is a lawyer and my dad is a food technologist, so completely different fields. Yeah, in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to study, so I just picked science because science is always a very safe subject to take when you don't know what you want to do. And then I chose history and German, so again, very far away from engineering. Because I was good at maths and science, I always was drawn to the STEM field, I would say, which is probably not a good reason to be drawn to a field, but that's fine because it introduced me to, you know, what was all there and what I could do with, you know, my skills. And then in grade 11, I went to the University of Pretoria. They host Engineering Week, where they basically introduced everyone to the different types of engineerings, and then you can choose one to go do a site visit on and see if it's something that, you know, can suit you as an individual. And that really helped me kind of decide what I want to do going forward with my studies. How I was drawn to specifically industrial engineering was, it's a very niche engineering in the sense that it's so broad. You don't just focus on one core, you know, application. And I really liked that there was, you know, with industrial engineering, you can go into any industry because at the crux of industrial engineering, it really is just about making processes more efficient, and everywhere needs that. But I do think it is important to, you know, join the STEM sphere of things, because that's how all the world's most complicated problems get solved, is within the STEM field. So whether you are making processes more efficient, if you're at the forefront of innovation, if you're developing new technologies, that all contributes to making everyone's daily lives easier and better. I'm very lucky at the Center of Robotics and Future Production. We don't just focus on one industry, one sphere of things. We work on a plethora of different projects. Currently, my main project that I'm working on is an automotive strategy. Essentially, we are looking at how to best position South Africa and our automotive industry to compete with the changing landscape internationally, where countries are moving from traditional internal combustion engine vehicles, which is what we know as our petrol and our diesel cars, to a more electric space, and what we should be doing as a country to keep up with that change. Another project that's, another sphere of things that I work in is facility layout planning. So basically you can take an existing layout or a layout that doesn't exist, and using a step-by-step procedural process, you can design layouts to be the most efficient and effective layout that they possibly could be. And with that, we then can validate that with simulation. And as a result of all of that, it ultimately results in cost saving.
Welcome back to 4IR. Online training through the C4IR Learning Factory is currently free of charge and offered in different modalities whereby attendees can take advantage of full online training, virtual training, or hybrid training that is virtually linked to real physical equipment, as well as practical experiential training on the physical equipment that is located at the CSIR campus in Pretoria. Mr. Saddam Matanzima will now tell us more.
We are partnering with the TVET colleges, especially when it comes to the development of relevant short courses. And with these short courses, we don't develop them just for the CSIR. The minute we get the course accredited, we make it a point that the TVET colleges also have access to those courses. And one other element is to also look at the lecturers and the trainers at the TVET colleges to ensure that they are also well equipped, because we can't expect the lecturers to be producing very good learners that are relevant for the industry uptake if they are not up to date in terms of the technological advancement. So with the learners, they get to access these courses through the TVET colleges. And of course, when it comes to now the TVET colleges that we are targeting for these learning factories, we want to ensure that we establish these platforms based on the relevant areas. For instance, if we are in Northwest, we want to establish a learning factory there. Northwest is dominated by the mining industry, so we need to make sure that a huge component of the learning factory that gets established in the learning in the Northwest province is it caters for that mining industry, so that the learners in that space, they get the relevant training that is well aligned to the local industries, so that they can be absorbed in that space.
Ideally, we want to show people, young people, business people, that these technologies are not here to replace jobs or to replace you in the near future, but to enhance and to improve on what you learn. So jobs like that are tedious, that are dangerous, so the robots can do that effectively. And as a CSIR or the CSIR Learning Factory, we also focus on human-centered machines or tools where a robot and a person can work hand in hand. And when it comes to upskilling, it's so important because the technology changes every day. And as much as we don't realize it, just previous years we're used to simple phones that you cannot do video call, cars that don't have cameras where you can attach your Google mapping in it and then it will navigate you using maps. But through the changes that the technologies are going through, upskilling, training, and creating exposure when it comes to these technologies is important. That's where then the CSIR Learning Factory can fit in to those.
We asked the CSIR team to give us any final words of advice to anyone aspiring to go into the STEM fields as a career.
So for me, I would say, when it comes to these technological advancements, there's a number of opportunities if you look at them. Of course, they are disrupting, the different economic sectors, and some of the jobs, they become obsolete, and then you find that now it's difficult, for one who has been in that same job for a very long time, to remain relevant. So what is very important is that, the learners or the youth has to focus, on the upskilling and reskilling to ensure that they remain relevant with these technological advancement. And of course, with all these initiatives that we put in place, we are trying by all means, to drive that upskilling and reskilling to ensure that, our youth remain relevant. And of course, they can, contribute, to the industrial development and economic growth of the country, and ultimately will be contributing to this inclusive socio-economic development. So that's very important for us, for the youth to be part of, the activities of the economy, so that, they can own up, on these, initiatives, and of course, make future, and of course, also make sure that they impact this knowledge into the next generations.
Wow. So I feel like there is so much advice that you can give to someone that wants to come into the sphere in general. I think it's really important to stay curious. As simple as that, stay curious, continue learning. Every single day there are new technologies coming out, new methods that are being used, and it's important to be aware of that. But I think more importantly, while your maths and science is important, especially starting out, getting into university, doing your degrees, equally as important as that, I think, is soft skills, developing your soft skills, your people skills, your communication, your teamwork, making sure that that is solid, because that will get you so far in life. And continue learning in the sense that job shadow, not every degree is meant for everyone. And STEM is really nice in the sense that there are so many directions you can go into. For example, I started in computer engineering, which is so different to what I'm doing now. But after job shadowing and seeing what there is out there, that's how I found industrial. And while computer engineering is amazing for someone, it wasn't amazing for me. And I think that can be said for everything. So just go out there, look what other people are doing, do your research, and there is a niche for everyone.
Well, don't be scared to go out there, try new things, and don't be afraid to share your ideas and be creative. That's where the future is. As much as the 4R or the technologies, they focus more on technical skills. Also, your soft skills are important as well, because for you to be able to thrive in the 4IR or 5IR, you need to know how to work with people. You need to know how to think and be creative and be innovative, and also not depending maybe on the government for it to create jobs for you. So if you have ideas, try to reach out to the CSIR, to other initiatives as well that are out there, and then be able, so that they can be able to help you achieve your goals.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of 4IR. Keep an eye on the CSIR website for openings and opportunities in STEM. See you again next time.